Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Pole Position YouTube channel. In this video we are going to be reviewing the Portuguese Grand Prix. Yes, round 3 of the Formula 1 World Championship for the 2021 season saw Lewis Hamilton take victory once again, and overall it was a bit of a comfortable victory for Lewis Hamilton. Yes, he did have to overtake both his rivals of his teammate Valtteri Bottas and his rival from Red Bull Max Verstappen, but after that it just looked a bit of a comfortable victory really. He looked in control, he was keeping the pace for the race, and it just looks like a great victory for the 7-time world champion. So we're going to delve into that, but most importantly we're going to look at the winners and the losers of the Portuguese Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's get into it. So of course the main winner of the Portuguese Grand Prix is the winner of Lewis Hamilton. Yes, this his second victory in Portugal. He won the race last year, and again he looked comfortable in the race last year, and that was the same thing this time round. His teammate Valtteri Bottas did get pole position, which must have annoyed Lewis Hamilton, as it would, losing out on pole position, and then he dropped down to third place after the safety car, but we'll obviously go into the safety car in a moment as well. Yeah, he said he was a bit surprised in the sense of losing the position to Max Verstappen in the safety car restart. He was so focused on Bottas. He quickly looked back in his mirrors. By the time he looked back in his mirrors to see where Max Verstappen was, Valtteri had gone. I think he was a bit surprised that Valtteri went quite early on the safety car restart, and then yeah, he struggled with that, and obviously Max Verstappen then managed to get ahead, but he managed to tweak some few things during the race on the setup and tweaking the car as it was going. Managed to overtake Max Verstappen, and then around lap 19, lap 20, I think he overtook his teammate. A bit of an awkward one for Valtteri Bottas actually. I thought he could have done a little bit better to defend the move. He sort of made the worst turn into turn 1 to himself, but you should really have given it to his teammate Lewis Hamilton to make it a bit more difficult to overtake. But yeah, like I said, when Hamilton got in the lead, he just looked comfortable from there, and yeah, it was sort of an easy victory in the end for Hamilton. It's Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas. It's the 15th time in Formula 1 that they've filled that spot together. The three of them have been on the podium together. It was previously held by Hamilton, Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel. That was 14 times. So we've been used to seeing Bottas, Verstappen and Hamilton on the podium. And yeah, it's the 4th consecutive time that Lewis Hamilton's won when starting from second on the grid. So yeah, obviously the main winner for this race is Lewis Hamilton. He's extended his gap a little bit in the Drivers' Championship as well. But yeah, main winner Lewis Hamilton. And then just another couple of ones in terms of actual winners for the race weekend. Sebastian Vettel. Now I know he finished in 13th, and a lot of people are going to say, how is he a winner in all this, because he hasn't got any points. His teammate Lance Stroll was also in 14th, so the Aston Martin team didn't get any points. But I think it was a good weekend overall for Sebastian Vettel. He obviously got into Q3, and it's been quite a while since we've seen Sebastian Vettel in the last part of qualifying, and he looked good. He looked better. He looked like he was a bit more set up in his car. Like I said, it didn't look great in the end in terms of the race, because obviously he dropped away a bit and finished in 13th. Overall, I think a positive weekend for Sebastian Vettel. Let's hope he can continue that form into the Spanish Grand Prix. And yet another team that I think's done quite well, and another driver in particular, is Alpine and Esteban Ocon for this race weekend. Esteban Ocon qualified well again, finished in P6 in terms of qualifying on Saturday. Did drop back down the order to P7, but I think overall for Alpine, considering how bad it was really in the first 2 races, and I think Imola in particular, when all the bosses were there, and they didn't get any points. I don't think they scored any points in that race weekend. To Esteban Ocon to get 7th, and Fernando Alonso to get 8th as well. He started in 13th after qualifying, but managed to work his way up the order, overtake some of the guys on the main straight, as most of the overtakes were during the Portuguese Grand Prix. But yeah, finished in P8 at the end of the race. So great points for Alpine, looking a bit better. Fernando Alonso said they brought some upgrades to this race weekend just gone. They're hoping to also look at improving for Spain as well. So it's looking a lot better for Alpine after this race weekend in Portugal. So great job by Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso, but Alpine in particular. And then of course we look to the losers of the race weekend, and there are a couple, so I am going to mention them. First one being, I would put Max Verstappen in this column simply because he's lost a bit of the points in terms of the Drivers' Championship, but overall he got second place, and he's managed to, if he doesn't win the race, he has to make sure he gets gets second place. Did also lose the fastest lap, but he went over track limits, so there's not much he can do about that. But yeah, the main loser really is Valtteri Bottas, simply because he was on pole position. It looked good. He controlled the safety car restart, like I said, and then it just fell away from him. He said after the race he has no idea why he didn't have the pace on the medium tyres for that first stint. Just he wasn't as quick as Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. He then had that sensor issue, I think, when he swapped for the hard tyres. Again, with the hard tyres, during the pit stops, he had the slowest stop out of the three of them, which doesn't help. And then he obviously had that sensor issue, which again, lost 5 seconds to Max Verstappen. And as much as maybe he could have recovered from that, Max 5 seconds is a long time against the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. So he then had to settle with third place. Like I said, he doesn't know why he didn't have the pace in the actual first stint. Looked okay, but I think from the safety car restart onwards, it just looked like he didn't have the pace for the other two. So he did get the fastest lap in the end, so he's slowly clawing his way back up in the Drivers' Championship, but he's in 4th position. Lando Norris is still ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship. So yeah, really not being the greatest start from Valtteri Bottas. Looked good from Saturday when he got pole position, but yeah, another Sunday to forget for Valtteri Bottas. And then a quick mention, because he was only quick during the race, was Kimi Raikkonen. Obviously crashed out after lap 1 after colliding with his teammate on the main straight. I think it was coming round, so he might have just hit lap 2 as he came back round. But yeah, collided very strangely with his teammate who was trying to get the slipstream, and before he could pull out to try and overtake, he'd lost his front wing from Giovinazzi's rear tyre. So yeah, a bit of a strange one. Could not turn the wheel because obviously the front wing was underneath the car, so when he tried to turn for turn 1 he couldn't, just ended up straight into the gravel. Yeah, very strange thing. A bit of a rookie error from Kimi Raikkonen, which is very strange considering he's the most experienced driver on the grid. But yeah, I'll put some photos on now. But yeah, not a great result for Kimi Raikkonen, and yeah, must have left the circuit early to head over to Barcelona. Not a great weekend for Kimi Raikkonen. And then finally, the last sort of losers I'm going to put in the section, because they had a great car in Imola and obviously didn't get any points from it, but Williams. Now George Russell, again, as everyone calls him, Mr. Saturday, did a great job on the Saturday to get to P11 in that Williams car, but yeah, just didn't look great. Nicholas Latifi sort of struggled, and George Russell again, once the safety car restart happened, this Williams car just looks a bit... George Russell was saying it's undrivable. Nicholas Latifi didn't like the way it was driving in the race, and it looked like as soon as they got a little bit of slipstream or a little bit of dirty air from the cars in front, it just seemed to struggle. So I don't know what they've got in terms of the aero package or in terms of the chassis and how that's being worked, but it doesn't look good when it's got the dirty air. But like Mercedes, sometimes when we notice that when it struggles to overtake in the dirty air, Williams were having the same things, and George Russell was saying the car was undrivable on Sunday. So yeah, not great in terms of Sunday for Williams. A lot to improve on there, but obviously great Saturday qualifying from George Russell. And yeah, they are my winners and losers from the Portuguese Grand Prix. Less than a week to go until the next race in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix, so hopefully we'll see a great race. It wasn't the greatest Portuguese Grand Prix, so hopefully we're going to see a little bit more action in terms of Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas as they fight for the World Championship this season. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pole Position podcast, and like I said, I will see you all in the next one. Take care. See you soon.